Okay, how's it going? I have a website, it's called pointlesstraveler.com, and this is my DIY, do-it-yourself video for the Thru-Hiker 2.5 ounce per square yard Climashield Apex quilt. So what we've got here is I got my first attempt at the quilt. Alright, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is the water resistant shell, and this is the liner. Okay, and the 2.5 ounce per 2.5 ounce per square yard Climashield Apex is in there, and you can see how thick it is. It's not thick at all. Okay, a lot of people think it needs to be like a ½ an inch thick or something. It isn't. It's basically an insulated tarp with 10 denier nylon on both sides. Okay, black because black dries faster than any other color. So we've got the this is a Janome children's sewing machine that broke. Okay, so it's broken. I didn't realize it was broken in time to return it. Then I bought a Brother sewing machine and I returned that. So this time I'm getting the Singer. This is just the heavy duty Singer. It's like 135 bucks. Okay, the quilt kit is like, with tax, it's like 100. It's like 85 with like $100 bucks, and then this is some weird product I got. This is polyester thread. Is tougher than any other thread. I got this huge thing at, I got it off the internet, so I didn't know how big it was gonna be. But here's the invoice from Thru-Hiker. Okay, so you can see. All right, I'm gonna start working on it. Here we go. Okay, so here it is. The first thing I did was I vacuumed my floor because Climashield Apex, it collects a lot of lint, and you don't want to get that trapped inside of your quilt. And this is what the Singer heavy-duty sewing machine looks like out of the box. Yeah, I just want to show you this, that in the first second of using this sewing machine, the thread snagged. And I just want you to see if you can tell that this needle is already a little bit bent. These sewing machines are extremely fragile, and because I didn't thread it through this spot right there, it kind of pulled the needle toward me this direction. And I haven't even used it yet at all. In the first second of using it, the needle already bent a little, and that's really how the sewing machines break. You've got 1 week to return this thing if it breaks, and they usually do, so just a heads up. I just wanted to make you aware for this DIY video. Now what I want you to see here is that the 10 denier nylon, it has two sides. All right, here's the range shell. This is the shiny side on the outside, and here's the rubberized side on the inside. The rubberized side goes against the Climashield, okay? Same thing with the liner. The liner has a matte side. This is the matte smooth side. This is the DWR side. The DWR side goes on the inside. The DWR goes against the Climashield, okay? Okay, so what we've got here is we've got everything ready to go. We've got the sewing machine threaded. What we've got is we've got the Climashield Apex is on the bottom. Okay, the Climashield Apex is a lot bigger than the liners. So what we need to do first is we got to get the one corner lined up. Now the Climashield Apex is going to bulge out of the corners. Okay, if we sew it all the way around, we'll end up with a bunch of Climashield Apex kind of like oozing out of one corner. So what I'm going to do is I've got the Climashield Apex is on the bottom. The rubberized side of the rain shield is touching it. Okay, and then the matte side that I want against my skin is for the liner is facing down against it, because we're going to flip this inside out. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave holes open at the corners, and we're going to flip the quilt inside out at the corners. And what that will do is it'll prevent the Climashield Apex from squeezing out one corner. The Climashield Apex will kind of be oozing out all the different corners, so it'll be kind of spread out evenly. And then we're also, the liner is much smaller than the Climashield, so the Climashield is going to need to be trimmed as I go around the edges, okay? Okay, so basically this is what it looks like. You pull it tight like that and just sew it in a straight line around the edges. Okay, so I just completed one side, and as you can see, there's a ton of extra Climashield Apex here. The Climashield Apex is much longer than the liner, all right? I'm going to leave the corners of the liner open because I'm going to do that last, all right? And I just want you guys to know that you got to be really, really cautious when you're taking the needle out of the, when you're removing this fabric from the needle. It can bend the needle really easily. you want to just cut it and re-thread the needle from scratch and try to put as little wear and tear on the needle as possible. Okay, so I've got my corner that I've started and I marked it out with a bobby pin because there's extra Climashield Apex on here. It'll be difficult to measure out where the other corner will be. So I've got it there. Okay, so now I've measured it out and marked out my other corner. Now you can see there's extra Climashield Apex there. Okay, so I'll have to deal with that later. That's just an added, you know, that side will be hard. Okay, so here's a perfect example of how crazy this is. 5 minutes into my project, I sewed the nylon onto the foot of the sewing machine. So just an example of how crazy this can be. 1 minute later, it happened again. So yeah, just this sewing machine is very easy to use. I recommend it, but you really got to keep your eye on this 10 denier nylon. When I stopped sewing, it folded back over and the needle caught just for a second. I have to cut this out and rethread the whole entire thing. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes every single time. Okay, so 2 sides completed, and there's the thread more or less. I think I'm more or less happy with it. Very easy sewing machine to use. Now I gotta cut this edge of the Climashield off. Gotta do. So here it is. Okay, this is the finished product. All right, and as you can see, it's not totally even. Okay, so there's places where I left the corners open. So I'm gonna find maybe I'll find the most uneven corners and fix those first. I'll leave one corner open that's very nice, and I'll flip the whole entire thing inside out through that one corner, okay? Carefully. And then the quilt will more or less be done. Now this quilt is too thin. This quilt is a proper width to fit around your legs, about 4 feet wide, but it isn't wide enough to wrap around your shoulders. So I'm gonna have to make an additional panel to go on the shoulders to add some extra width. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how the Climashield Apex will actually get stuck on the foot of the sewing machine here. Okay, gotta be so basically after this bottom spool ran out one time, suddenly it won't work. This thing is getting jammed and it won't sew any more thread. My quilt's almost ready, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna see if I can get it to work. Okay, so it's broken, okay? This spool in the bottom, it ran out of thread, and when it ran out of thread, it yanked on the sewing machine, and the sewing machine won't work again. Okay, so I don't know what to say. I'm almost done with this quilt, but obviously that's going to slow down the progress of getting it all finished. I might have to finish it by hand. All right, thanks. Okay, just so you guys can see what it looks like. This is that's the snag. Okay. I have no idea what's wrong with it. I guess I'm gonna have to return this sewing machine. This is the third sewing machine that I bought, and this was the best one. Okay, to wrap up this video, there it is. Okay. It's plenty long. All right. The Climate Static V Lux, that's the biggest air pad on the market. You can see that folded in half, that's pretty much the same width as that. Now the problem is though that once you're in it, there's not enough room for your shoulders inside there. So you've got to put an extra, you have to actually attach more quilt to the side. It needs more quilt to the side on the top. And as far as a hood, it's probably going to need some more material for a hood. So you actually have to buy 2 of these quilt kits to complete the whole entire project. And you also have to get pretty creative to find a way how you're going to attach more quilt onto this thing. Because there it is. This is what the quilt looks like completely sewed together. But that's actually not enough. It's great for a blanket. It's also great for insulation when you want to lay on the ground. You know, this will create a separation between your body heat and the cold ground. It keeps the cold ground on it keeps the cold of the ground on the ground. It keeps your warm body heat on you. And it's a great material. It's very light, 2.5 ounces per square yard. Now, if you put that into perspective, Primaloft Gold, which is like the best material in the world, is 3 ounces per square yard. So this is basically the same thing as Primaloft Gold, except lighter, but it's less versatile. You know, it's so light that it doesn't really hang on the body very well. It's really just for blankets. Okay, so here it is. This is the Climashield Apex 2.5 ounce per square yard quilt kit completed. Okay, I have a website. It's called pointlesstraveler.com. Please check it out. Thanks a lot. Bye.